Okay, I'm back. Things are pretty solemn. What's going on all over. It's 1 a.m. Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, here in New Jersey, east coast of the U.S. So I just decided to, I don't know, maybe this could be my last video. I've said it many times, and I don't know. I'm back here. Well, all right, so much has been happening. Let's just say here in New Jersey, New York area. I'm right outside of New York City. Well, we know we had the earthquake. It was registered anywhere from mid 4 to mid 5, depending on who stated it, but it averaged out to 4.8. So others are saying, well, there's 4.8 April 8th, and that gets to the eclipse and so forth. I went through the eclipse today, took some pictures. They didn't come out. You couldn't see it. Videos, I should say. But oddly enough, I saw the reflection in the window that I noticed. So I saw it. I saw it perfectly clearly. I saw the slice of the sun outside of the moon that was blocking it. I saw it very clearly, but it was on the glass. So nothing that we know of, basically, according to all the doom and gloom and predictions. None of that happened. I really didn't think that it would. I mean, there was a chance, but anyway, putting that behind, that doesn't mean that things are kosher and okay right now, because I believe they're not, and I believe this week, the rest of this week, we could start seeing those major things that we're sort of looking for and anticipating, and others are mentioning and saying could be in the cards of major importance here. So like I was saying, well, it's late, so I'm kind of taking my time. We had the earthquake at White House Station near Lebanon, New Jersey, which is sort of central, a little bit central, upper central, on the parallel of like Manhattan, just outside of Manhattan. So White House Station, there you go, White House. Like our government, our White House, where the government is seated. Then, of course, we had the bridge incident, Francis Scott Key Bridge. So that's another indication. Government, the flag, the United States, something major apparently ready to happen. So earthquake, actually was many tremors after that. I maybe felt a few, but the original one did feel like a train was right outside here. It rumbled, everything rumbled. So we had that. We had the eclipse. We had rain all week and wind, just insane weather that wouldn't let up, really crazy storms the whole week. And then, of course, like I said, the Statue of Liberty in Jersey City that overlooks New York. Statue was struck by lightning right at the beacon, right at the top. If that isn't, well, I believe it's signaling. Others may differ and say, well, that's God doing it. I'm not going to, get into that, but that's my opinion, that of all these things, it's signaling of what's about to happen. Um, I still believe absolutely with La Palma, with the tsunami, that's going to happen, and that could be imminent also. And I was just watching. I'm sorry, I'm talking slowly. It's pretty late. Um, New York Prepper. I just caught the beginning of it, but he's saying that there were these launch instructions. I forget the exact details, stating for navigators or pilots or whatever to be aware that Iran is ready to launch missiles or rockets Wednesday, apparently, or whenever, Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. And this could involve, well, it would definitely be, with Israel and all the other things going on with other countries right now. I mean, this could really be what is biblical, what the prophets foretold of those nations coming against Israel, and with the United States, um, getting involved in what that would mean. Now, I'm kind of skipping all around here, but earthquakes. I had mentioned this site, SSGEOS. I think his name is Frank, and he has a serious warning out right now for what's the word he used? I mean, he looked nervous. um, but if you go to his channel, he has a website too. Um, his latest video was a couple of days ago, and he thinks he wasn't saying that much was likely to happen with the eclipse itself, but a few days later and after that, 2 or 3 days especially, and even in the coming weeks here. Now, what happens with magnetic pulls, or with the energy, with the earthquakes, like if it's from space, if there's an alignment that's exerting force on, the fault lines, those are the most vulnerable that are likely to be affected by that energy. So, I mean, well, we know in the United States we have the New Madrid or New Madrid fault line, and over in California, San Andreas fault, San Francisco. Um, well, no one knows what might happen or not, let's say this week, for different reasons of energy being exerted, whether those fault lines would finally, give way. So I don't know. I'm just, I'm not saying it is, but there are still storms going right up that area, the energy, um, through that fault. And New Jersey is on a different fault line, a Ramapo fault line, but there is a fault line running right through New Jersey here, so that's what was affected. But that was probably most likely from the energy of other quakes that sort of travels along that fault line. It's like a bell ringing, or a wave. You throw something big into a pond in the ocean, and it expands outward. The waves keep going, and the waves expand outward. And it's the same thing with land. If there's a force in the ground, it expands outwards, and it rocks other areas that down the path, down the line, even thousands of miles away. I've I'm sort of been concerned about San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge. That's very much signaling and occultic. Golden Gate. The same thing with the eclipse. It's like a golden halo or crown. The crown, you know what, that occurred. All of this kind of thing. Um, and of course also with tsunamis um, could affect, those areas could affect the East Coast and the West Coast. So we have the setup here, potentially, possibly, for this. Maybe, that could be happening, or who knows, at any other place in the world. Hawaii, that's another consideration with the break off and potential for tsunami. And then, of course, to be honest with you, I don't even like to mention really dreams and visions much anymore. Although what I'm saying here is there have been many, and still are, right? Recently, I've heard, even days ago, about this, about, massive waves, East Coast and West Coast. So we know that signs are given. So in the spiritual sense, in the prophetic sense, this has been very much anticipated also. Um, up to this very moment. And like I said too, with La Palma, that's just sitting there like a sitting duck, waiting for that event. And I believe that's all signaling too, that that's major. And I think and believe that this eclipse and La Palma were and are they're major rituals, and they portend toward what is being planned in a major way at these time posts, these events that precede them. And that's what these are. These are major rituals. So even though you could say, well, it was a big nothing, a big bust with this eclipse, or someone could say, well, nothing's going to happen with La Palma anymore. That's old news. Nothing's going on. But actually, there's action there. A lot of ones and nines and sixes, quakes right on La Palma the past few days. But again, I think that that's not going to be a natural event, but it's part of the overall strategy of including economically, what all of this would do to usher this whole thing right after, after the church is gone. So that's the key event here, the church leaving. Now, who knows if anything's going to happen this week, talking about war and maybe dragging everyone else in. It could be a flashpoint for the whole world. And once the church is gone, and whatever happens in the conflagration and possible likely destruction, that sets the stage for this world dictator, spiritual leader, to come and sort it all out and try to bring peace and bring a peace plan to the world and to Israel. So really that's what's going on here. And then with Syria, Lebanon, the Middle Eastern countries right now, a tinderbox. That seems like the perfect setup for what Scripture says is going to take place um, when all this comes to pass. And again, the rapture, and believers will not be here for these things. Um, absolutely will not partially, not partial judgment, not pre-wrath, not anything, not coming back here as one of the 144,000 or whatever. If a person's saved now, every saved person will be taken. Whoever is saved after that are those of that group, period. And they'll be saved just like we're saved right now, the same way, not by works. And I'm not going to belabor that. I'll try to wrap this up, but there's just a lot of things like that um, it's totally unscriptural. Many areas that I never even talked about. Um, I tried to, but it just, what could I say? What could I do? It may sound strange or unscriptural, like I'm making stuff up, or I'm creating my own theology, or uh, but there's many things that, pure belief, pure faith, salvation, what it means, and all of that. It's very different what it actually is compared to really what Christians, believers have believed, you know, all along here, right up to this minute. So, and just a brief second to say this, to finish this thought. It's very sorrowful and sad that there's so many out there who are in works, in obedience, and trying to earn salvation through their own repentance. Like a penance, doing penance. It's not based on Jesus' one-time sacrifice. Um, no matter how fervent they are, and loathe their sin and so forth. It's really terrible, what's going on out there, especially because so many of them claim to be having signs and giving words, having visions and dreams. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. It's not of God's Spirit. It's of a different spirit. It's such a deception, and it seems so parallel and close to true Christian faith. But it's not. It's not. It's very tragic. I mean, it's eternally tragic. It really is. All right, so I'm sort of maybe expecting there might be a round two of these quakes here in New Jersey. Thought I'm hearing like a little bit of rumbling somewhere. I don't know. But I do think I hear. There's been quite a few people like today saying with the eclipse they kept hearing this rumbling or almost like thunder sound, like going off the whole time. And that's not normal. There were no storms. So trying to hear if it is. Keep thinking I'm hearing something in the distance, but who knows, maybe right online here doing a live video you'll start seeing shaking. And the thing about tonight, things are so quiet, and I don't just mean no noise, but that too is very odd and eerie around here. I don't even hear traffic, and usually you hear that, it torments me. Kind of all night I have to wear earplugs and other kind of ear thing over that to protect from the noise sometimes. I hear nothing, but there's a stillness like in the air, like not just sound, but I mean like a sense of something, even though it's very still. Use the term calm before the storm, or the eye of the storm. it's sort of like the eye of the storm, because all these storms, literally, and all these things that have happened all week, um, and that subsided, you know, the physical things going on, environment, and so on. And also with this, I don't want to call it a trick, but with this eclipse that, well, fortunately, put it that way, nothing major apparently, you know, took place today. And so that's sort of like a surprise on the other end of the deal here, that it's like everything just sort of stopped and went quiet now. Seems like tonight. So whatever the heck's going on, to me that doesn't mean everything's okay. I think it means the exact opposite. I really do. And again, I think, I don't know where, but I think maybe very soon, maybe within days here or weeks or so, but more like in days maybe, there could be major quakes. Where? I don't know. I just explained maybe on fault lines particularly, though not necessarily, but that's the most likely candidate for this to happen. And the parallel is of the solar eclipse similarly in 1811, I believe it was, that went on the same exact path of hugging or following the New Madrid or New Madrid fault line. And within days after the eclipse, there was, I think, one of the worst earthquakes in the United States history, and it made the is it the Missouri River flow backwards temporarily for several minutes or something along those lines. Mississippi River. So, like I said, with potential for war, with missiles apparently ready to be launched at Israel, well, that's what I'm hearing. That's what seems to be out there. That's what's been predicted, even warned, you know, through the news, through the U.S. government, and also to be aware of how should I put this, internal things possibly happening here, you know, on top of everything else, to be aware. I don't want to say the words. I don't want to say certain words. That's why you know what I'm talking about. Things going on in this country internally, I guess, you know, as a result of this country's involvement in the whole thing with Israel and against Iran and so on. You know, like a revenge type thing, jihad type thing. So again, we have to wait and see. Is anything going to happen? Like I said, next few days and the rest of this week could potentially be, you know, the end point here of all of this. And no one knows when the rapture will be exactly. But if the world is on the verge of possible sudden destruction, or these things coming to pass in this country, and with these catastrophes and so on, then you know, it's like in general, these signs point to that the rapture seems very near, very near possibly. One of the things that concerns me right now is the weather going on in the south. Again, right from Texas and that whole same area, I'm hearing there's severe weather forming in that, and going right up the New Madrid area fault up into the mid section of the country there. You know, that's not good. So I mean, it's terrible. Tornadoes, just horrifying. We had one here right near me, right next to me, last before the summer. I even forget when it was. I think it was in the spring, last spring, if it was that long ago. Um, yeah, it was right near me, but it didn't get me. And I saw footage on the major TV from New York, and they were interviewing people right down the street here, and I saw an angel right when the tornado was hitting. I saw an angel go flying fast sideways, back and forth, and I believe that we were protected here. I really do. And there was another tornado right down the other side of the street, so I was like right in the middle of that, very close. Um, so I was outside praying right when it was hitting. I heard this sound like a jet roar, like pretty close to me up above, and I prayed against it, that God would send angels and divert divert the tornado into some structure where no one would be hurt, and that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. Very large warehouse was hit, went right through it, cut right through it, a big giant gaping gash in it, and no one was killed. Many wires and poles and trees were knocked down, but somehow no one was injured. It took a path away from hurting people, and so I know what that's like, and I've been in hurricanes also, and that's not fun. Like right on top of me, major Hurricane Sandy, right near me, the center coming close, right near the ocean. So I'll see if I could put this video up. Excuse me, if I could put this video up tomorrow, if I get access and I could go somewhere, find a place to do that, and we'll see what's going to go on here maybe tomorrow, the next day, especially during this week, okay? I hope you could hear me. I'm trying not to talk too loud, but so that's basically what I came into my mind to say here, and it seems like this could be it. You really can. This could be the final moments here. Okay, so this could be the last video that I ever have the opportunity to do, and I'll just leave things right there and try to put this video on so it could be listened to, and just take it from there and see how things go, and because I never know if and when, for what reason I'll do a video. So, but I felt like I really wanted to do one right now, spontaneously. I didn't plan any of this, so okay, that's it. Take care, and God bless, and keep looking up, because I think we could be out of here very shortly. Take care.